Back, everybody, to the next episode of Rehab on the Mic, podcast by Comprehend Health. I have a guest that I know personally really well. We have Dr. Justin Farnsworth here. He's actually just an hour away from me over in Rochester, New York. I'm excited to have him on. I've taken a few courses from him. I actually helped him with a course here in Buffalo at one point, and now he's got his own CU course called Programming Around Pain. I'm excited to hear about it. I'm hoping he actually brings it to Buffalo. My wife and I are interested in going, but I'm sure he'll dive into it a bit. Justin, tell us about yourself. Like, we just want to hear, like, how'd you start as a PT? Where'd you go? And we'll kind of go from there.
All right, Chris, what's up, man? First, can we start this call off with a Go Bills? Is that allowed?
Bills.
Western New York? No, man, dude. So it's funny. Man, where do we start on my story? I always just tell people I'm going to be 39 this year. I've been coaching since I was 12. So born and raised in Western New York. I played soccer through college, played professionally, kind of fell into a right place, right time scenario where we were running the Sabres and the Bills when I was 12. So a place I trained at that my high school soccer coach owned. So whenever I talk to clinicians, I'm just like, hey, I was actually a coach before I was a clinician, which helped me a lot. Because if you have a strong exercise background, not just exercise science degree, like I've actually done the thing, I've worked with people, I really feel like those therapists, at least in outpatient orthopedics, tend to just do the best because you have a system and a scale, and you've kind of done it. From there, man, got my doctorate in PT, Upstate Medical University, Syracuse, New York. Let's go. And then my wife and I just hopped in a car and moved. So we actually drove to Tucson, Arizona, got jobs there, lived there for 4 years, got married there. We used to see 8 patients a day. Like, I came out the back end of the golden age of PT, where in Arizona we had our own tech. We had our own PTA, 8 to 10 patients a day, all 45 minutes, one-on-one care, Gary Gray, functional this, functional that. Learned a ton of stuff. Like, probably the best experience for our for when we started. And we actually started our jobs making $60,000 a year. That's what we made back in 2012, 2013. And it was actually fine. Like, it worked. It was great. From there, we did another bucket list thing. We moved to New York City. So in New York City, we worked for a place called Spear Physical Therapy. At the time, I think they had 4 to 5 offices. Now they have a lot more than that. Loved it there. Was fortunate enough. Everything I've been able to do in my career was because I just said yes and did a lot of free stuff. So worked with a lot of docs up at HSS. My wife actually started their women's health program they have because my wife started it. They're the only New York City provider that takes insurance for pelvic floor. And that was all her. So we were there for a while. That was fun. Came back to Rochester. Managed an office here, ran it, kind of pseudo opened it. I've done the thing all of us have done on the call. If you've ever opened an office, you just say yes to every patient. Like, you work 14-hour days for a while because you know you're going to hire staff. Did that, and then 2020 got an opportunity to teach for a very big education company. And I did that. I mean, I tell people I've taught over 200 courses 3 times a month for 6 years, basically nonstop. That's not an exaggeration. Those are just like facts. So I've been over a lot inside the fitness industry, and since December 2024, I do all my own stuff. So I have really 2 main courses. We have Programming Around Pain. Programming Around Pain was built out of a need to help coaches think more clinically, not to diagnose, but to realize whether PTs like it or not, coaches are working with people in pain. Your average gym goer isn't 20 years old. They're actually 40, 45, 50. They're older now than they ever used to be because people are living longer. So coaches need to be equipped to know what to do when a client comes in and has a history of their knee hurting, of their back hurting, and like how we can still train to make exercise the medicine for that person. The other course I have that I teach is a course called Rehab Rebuilt, which is actually to help clinicians think like coaches. And that's the gap. Like, we all talk about it. Bridge the gap from rehab to performance. I don't think anyone actually knows what that means. It's like the word optimal. It sounds really cool. What does that mean in practicality? So this is just my bias. I'm board certified in sports. I've done everything as a outpatient PT to reach like the pinnacle, and you still see underdosing, under-challenging. Yes, insurance sucks sometimes, and they just kick people out. Yes, sometimes people suck, and they self-discharge. But you still see some of these inherent problems where, as a clinician, if I didn't come from a strength background, and I went through your typical DPT education, I would come out and go like, Oh man, past clamshells and like a couple body weight squats. Like I don't know how to actually build capacity so they don't ever come back. Because ultimately, think about PT. What's the goal of PT? Not I want to do what I did before. No, that's why you're here. I want you better than before. So I've always thought about PT more than just like my symptoms feel better and I can finally tie my shoes and like I ran the 5K, my knee didn't hurt as much. I'm like, no, I want you running the freaking 10K, squatting 2 times your body weight. Like those are like the metrics I would love to push you to because what predicts your lifespan and your chance of hurting yourself again more than anything else is how strong you are, how powerful you are, where your VO2 max is. Like the metrics of longevity go hand in hand with, I think, keeping people healthy. So in this course, we do plyos, we do kettlebell work, we do strength training. We spend 10 minutes on what 3 years of PT education teaches you, which is manual therapy. Like I talk about it and then we move on. There are many courses that have that. I don't want to touch that. I want to touch all the other stuff and then bridging that gap for people.
Yeah.
Longest intro I've ever given in my life. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And it's funny because I remember taking the course from you. I think the first time we met was probably 2021, 22 maybe. And then you brought up like people should get better than what they did coming in. Like that's why they got hurt. They were at a level that wasn't adequate for what they wanted to do. And like I remember like making goals for people at that point. Like their goals were above like what they were prior level of function. Like that's always what was brought up. Like yeah, your prior level of function sucked. Like that's why you got hurt. But like
PLOF.
you know,
Patient return to PLOF. Let's go.
but I injured my MCL over the weekend, and I'm 4 days out now from when I actually injured it. And I was in the gym today doing front squats and RDLs. I was like, I would never have done that in a PT clinic with somebody. They would have been doing bridges and clamshells and straight leg raises and walked out the door. That would have been their HEP. Like it's terrible because like they don't teach you that in school though. Like I remember asking my professors every year, like, okay, but like how do I treat this now? And it was every year it was always it depends. And then they would give you the straight leg raise, clamshells, long arc quad examples. I'm like, okay, that's good for the maybe first 2 days, but like, what do I do after that?
Okay, I'm going to probably offend a lot of people. I'm in that mood today. It depends is such a freaking cop out because we have a doctoral level of education, and to tell someone it depends is the lowest required knowledge answer. Now, does it depend sometimes? Yes. Fine, whatever. But I mean, dude, I'll tell you, one of my first experiences with PT when I was in high school, um, was playing a game, got taken off from the side, knee swelled up, couldn't put weight on it, and like I'm like, oh shoot, I tore my ACL, and I have my first collegiate preseason starting in about 2 months. Freaking out. Um, Went to the doctor. Everything checked out fine. They called it a meniscal tear. Go to rehab downstairs. Okay, fine. I go to rehab downstairs in a big hospital system, and I actually got a straight leg raise. I think I got a sideline hip abduction too. I forget. I remember I did that. Whatever. A week later, I go back for my second visit, and he's feeling pretty good. And I remember I walk in, and the lady who was my PT was like, "Hey, just go get warmed up on the treadmill." Okay. Collegiate level athlete in me, who's 18 years old, is like, "Well, I've got a Cooper test I got to run in 2 months, so I'm just going to go on the treadmill." And I ran the Cooper test on the treadmill. Did like 11-minute 2 mile because he was feeling really good. Like I want to test it out. And I remember she came over and berated me, like, "Why did you just do that? That's too much." I'm like, and I never went back. You know what got me better? Going to the place I worked out at, trained athletes at, deadlifting, squatting, and just adjusting the stuff that hurt, increasing the range, the weight over the course of 3 to 4 weeks, and I didn't miss a game that year. Like, and I was fine. So obviously N equals one, but I'm not the only, like, it's a low level of evidence. Yeah, but it happened. Like, it shows what's possible, and it just shows like high treatment volume without a good knowledge base on actual exercise. Not clamshell, sideline sternal rotation, step downs, wall sits, single leg wall sits. Those are fine. But like, what's the next step past that that actually builds capacity? Is like, I just feel like we don't get it. It's sad. It makes me sad because it's a very expensive education. And I think we are the best, most knowledgeable, well equipped to help the most people. But we just can't.
Yeah, I know I want to get into your course a little bit and kind of dig through like what it actually is. And but I know people are going to bring it up, and I hear it all the time. Everybody wants to work with a professional athlete. It's like their goal. I've worked with some really high level people, professionals, and then your beginner athlete. Like I think the professional athlete not like great to work with. But I'm curious, like, what is your approach like treating a professional versus a very new beginner? Like, is there a difference that you approach there, or is it the same
Yeah.
approach for everybody?
So guys, pro athletes are easy. Don't get them fat, don't get them arrested, and don't get them hurt. Like you were talking about genetic outliers. Like this is why you go to the strength and conditioning world, and people just argue about all these little nuances. And the reality, most of that stuff doesn't like actually matter. Usain Bolt is the fastest man in the world because he is the fastest man in the world. Like, to some of the technique in his training and tapering down, like, probably, but most of those people, man, they just you could do whatever. That's why you'll see that. You'll see like some of these really weird videos of like LeBron James doing a Bosu squat with a barbell on his back, which you and I would probably agree, well, that's pretty dumb. But also like the dude is one of the best. I still think MJ's better, but that's another story. Dude is one of the best basketball players like ever in the history of the world, and it's not from doing the Bosu squat or not doing the Bosu squat. It's just because he has these genetics that he's able to express completely. You know what I mean? That is my take on pro athletes. Like, and I've done a decent amount of them. Some are great, but there's just a lot more going on behind the scenes than just like what the training and the rehab looks like. Uh, and I also think it's kind of funny when people are like, well, Adrian Peterson did it in 6 months, so I'm going to do it in six. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not Adrian Peterson. Like, you're not getting paid X $1 million a year to literally rehab every single day, plus being genetically gifted, plus maybe, maybe or maybe not having some like hormonal help and stuff that like, so pro athletes are awesome because they show us what's possible, right? But what's actually probable for most isn't this. It's like somewhere down here. So the ramp ups and the expectations are just slower.
Yeah, I worked with I think he's ranked ninth in the world long drive tour, and he came in he had hip and back pain, treated them.
No.
We did a course.
Golfer with hip and back pain. No.
Yeah, it was very obvious what was going on. And after I treated them, we did a session together, and we had people come and watch, and he was teaching them how to hit the ball further. And every single person that next week scheduled an appointment with me. They're like, I want to swing as hard as him. I'm like, he is a genetic freak. He's 6'6", wingspan that's bigger than his body. He was a D1 baseball player. I was like, you're not him. But like, it was nice for people to see like, okay, I want to try to get there, but like, let's find a spot that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's always interesting. It happens every time.
Every single time. And it's fine. I think having big goals are awesome. Right? Like, I think that's cool. There's no need to settle. But if we're just being realistic, the longer I'm on this earth, the longer I work with people, the more you just realize some people are just born to do the thing. And you can train them however the hell you want. They can eat whatever they want. They're still going to have a six pack and run a 4.340.
Yeah.
Cool. So biggest pro athlete, biggest thing that's most important for a pro athlete is being available. If you're always hurting on the bench, then it doesn't matter.
Yep. So getting into your program, what made you decide to actually build it? Like I've talked to you before in the past, but like what pushed you to like, okay, let's do it?
The program around pain. So I'm fortunate. People know me as an educator. I have taught more than anyone in the industry, period, since 2020. So actually, I had a lady who lives in Traverse City, Michigan, Melissa Ray. And Traverse City, Michigan is like kind of the middle of nowhere. It's not the middle of nowhere. It's just up there. Courses don't go to Traverse City. They go to Detroit, right? Just like courses don't come to really Rochester. Like they'll go to like the city, right? Or something. And so she had just asked me, she's like, hey, would you want to come teach my staff some stuff? I really want to educate them. I really like what you do. I don't want to have to pay like all this money to fly them like, to Dallas or California to take a course. She's like, so could you put something together? I'm like, sure. And then I sat down and I'm like, well, let me just think. What have I done in my career that's kind of unique and different? Even though a lot of us, I think, say the same stuff. We just have different approaches on how we do it. And so I sat down and I just started putting together longer form emails. And I sat and I'm like, okay, if I'm a coach, what are the kind of like weak links that most coaches have? The first one is programming, general, like a systematic way to know what to do. Not even giving someone pain yet, just like, what do I do? Let's start with that. So I have a section about programming. It's a 2-day course in 3 hours is what that is. It's very quick hitting, okay? And then I'm like, okay, now also if I'm a coach, what do I tend to deal with the most when it comes to pain? Because that's what I do, right? I've got the rehab background and the performance background. How can I meld those two things together to bridge the gap, if you speak? And I'm like, okay, most coaches are dealing with the same four things. My hip hurts, my knee hurts, my back hurts, and my shoulder hurts. Yeah, we have wrists and ankles and necks, but that's if you go to any, and I've taught coaches, so I know this answer. Like if you go ask any coach in a big box gym, hey, what do most of your clients have? They're going to tell you one of those four things. And I'm like, okay, now let me sit down and say, okay, if I have someone that I've worked with that has, hip pain and we want to train, what are the biggest like assessment strategies I can run, not as a diagnostic skill set, but to decide how I'm going to train that day? Because training has to become the medicine. We've spent, how long have you been a PT? At least as long as I have, I think, right?
Over 10 years now.
Yeah, so a decade in PT, how long have we spent just low loading people and hoping they'll finally get better? I'm just curious. It's been my whole freaking career. It's been a problem. How long have we spent doing screens that tell them how bad their score is and telling them they're not allowed to exercise? They got to perfect their neuromuscular control. What does that even mean? Put a definition on patient has improved neuromuscular control. That sounds so cool. What does that actually mean? I don't know. What do most people need? They need identifiable start points on how I'm going to squat today, even though my groin hurts. They need an identifiable start point on how am I going to hinge today, even though I have chronic back pain. So what I decided to do was take what assessment strategies do we have that work really well in medicine from a strength and a mobility standpoint. The most two basic buckets that exist for people. Too weak, too stiff. Cool. Let me give those to coaches and say, okay, your client that has groin pain has no internal rotation. And because they have no internal rotation, now here's how you're going to set their squat up to take advantage of their anatomy that you're never going to change versus having their anatomy be the reason you can't do the thing. Like that's how the course is dictated around. So each section kind of runs through hands-on work to help identify what are their weak link options and areas, but don't use those as excuses. Use those as reasons on why you're going to set something up a certain way. Okay, another great example of this is, let's imagine how many of your clients have weak glutes. Cool, probably all of them, whatever that means. So when we squat, imagine if they're pretty good on a squat, like what type of squat variation is going to ask for more glutes? A deeper squat will. So maybe I want to do that initially, actually, if everything feels good, because I can take advantage of trying to strengthen an area that needs it. Maybe we need to supplement with more direct glute work. Like it's using those strategies, but it's still training. So when we talk about this inside of a weekend, we're not talking, again, I'll make fun of these, I've done them, but like we're not talking about clamshells, silent external rotation, doing a side plank. Like those are fine things to do down here, but at some point you need to get here. Because if you only stay here, that's where you're going to end up. And then you're going to come back. But if I can take you from here to here to here to here, and I have a systematic way to think about it, I have a really good way to program around it, and I basically have a place to start you in the backyard. Eventually, we don't have to stay in the backyard. We can get to the front yard. All right, it's like you got kids, right?
Yeah, two.
Yeah, two of them. And, I got my daughter's going to be 7. And it's like if you look out my window, the road for our neighborhood is right there. It's the front yard. So, like when she's 4, she's not playing in the front yard. She's going to play in the backyard where the fence is, if you will, because I know she's not going to get hurt. I think of exercises the same way, right? Someone that has chronic back pain, the kettlebell deadlift that's elevated can't be the end point, but it's the playing in the backyard start point. Then how can I get them to my side yard and eventually the front yard? Eventually, down the street at the neighbor's house, they rode their bike by themselves. It's like exercises that same, progressive exposure that we all talk about that people do actually need. It's just finding for your client right now, your patient right now, what is their entry point? That's the hardest part. Once you define their entry point and what they can tolerate, program becomes way easier now when I have a system that's around it.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like I said, I took everything from all your courses, and like that's kind of how I started treating, and it definitely opened my eyes to the gap that we always talk about. Like, what do you actually see as the like? I don't want to like pick one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, between a therapist that's fresh out of school and a trainer that's been training for a while, like where is that actual gap?
The therapist that comes out of school is very, very good at telling you what hurts. Our diagnostic skills, I mean, our diagnostic skill set as PTs is pretty good. We're up there with orthopedic surgeons. Like, it's been studied. We're really good. But we don't always know, like, what to do next. And I think a lot of times it's because we don't know how to coach. We don't have our own physical practice. Like, how many PTs, an outpatient, go and put a bar on their back and squat? Now, do you have to do that to be an outpatient PT? No. Does every client need a bar on their back to squat? No. And actually, it's probably a dumb choice for people that are, like, acutely flared up. But my point is, how many people are really comfortable in knowing, like, here's the exercise entry point, and also knowing, like, what tissues are under stress and overstressed at what ranges of motion. That's why I think a therapist should be the expert at this. Like, you talk about your MCL, right? And MCL has different fibers to it. Some are under more tension as you flex, some are under more tension as you extend, but typically it's a flexion moment that's going to put more stress on a acutely injured MCL, right? So if I have you as a patient, I'm like, okay, I know I need to squat, but I actually kind of know that deep squatting is probably not a good idea based on the tissue that needs some healing time frame. So now what I can do is I can take your squat and customize a range of motion that's not going to irritate your now healing MCL, but I can still get a stimulus, I can still train, I can at least still maintain what you have, if not even get a little bit better. That's what a therapist should be able to do. But we can't. We can identify the MCL, we could talk about its different orientations, but I can't translate that tissue that needs to be under or overstressed into what a squat pattern should look like. Right? Now let's take the coach. Coaches are really good at exercise. Like, honestly, that's what they do. They usually train. All of them have an exercise and a movement that they do every day. But then they have clients that have pain, and they don't know what to do. And that whole the idea of corrective exercise permeated the physical therapy industry right when I came out of school. That's why all like the functional guru stuff was really cool, and we'd have people rolling around on the ground for like 3 visits and then wonder why their back still hurt. That kind of left PT now, thankfully, kind of, and now it's permeated the fitness industry. So where the fitness industry kind of goes wrong is people don't move enough. People watch 4 hours of Netflix a day and maybe move 30 minutes, but now we're giving them what feels like rehab because it sounds really cool when you should just train. But that's where programming around pain like fits in, is like helping you as a coach figure out, my knee hurts, so what can I actually do that's still training to give me an impact? This is where exercise becomes the medicine. So that's where I think the gaps exist, and why I really think, and I still believe, physical therapists who work in outpatient should be the ones that take charge of that. We're just too busy stumbling over our own feet and arguing with each other that we just don't, unfortunately.
It always drove me nuts when I was in an outpatient clinic and I'd see everybody just laying on the table. And like, I went in to a couple clinics around here in Buffalo, I won't name who they are, to go promote Comprehend. And I walked in and every single person's on the table. People are getting massages. They're doing their straight leg raises. I'm like, if they came in with hip and knee, they walked in, they're weight bearing. Like, why aren't they doing weight bearing exercises? Like, it always drove me nuts. But like, they're like, oh, protocol says no weight bearing. I'm like, they walked here.
The biggest screen to know if you can exercise today is that you walked into the freaking office. I think I might have stolen that. I might have stolen that from Gary Gray. I feel like I took a Gary class maybe 13, 14 years ago, the 3D chain, and I'm pretty sure he said that, and it's stuck with me ever since. Where it's like, best screen to know if you can exercise today, they walked in. But I think, I mean, dude, I think here's the challenge, though. Is like, you're in Buffalo. How's reimbursement in Buffalo?
Terrible.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I'm in Rochester. We're actually a little bit better than you, but we're still not that great. So then now becomes the thing where it's like, I've had days where I had 20 patients. And it's like your 6:30, 7 p.m. patient, end of a long day. Of course, you saw a lot that day, and of course, your last patient's late. And we all do the altruistic thing that therapists do, and we stay late because we want to help people. And dude, I mean, I put him on the fucking table and gave him a freaking hot pack. So I'm like, I got notes to do, like, and I'm tired. So I get it, but it is frustrating. But here's the other thing. I think that's the reality, is like the pendulum's also swung to therapists that don't even touch people. It's like, I'm not, you walk in, and then I've seen patients, that was one of my best referral sources in Rochester, was a place that didn't touch anyone. They come to me and I'm like, no one put their hands on you? Why don't you just go see a coach then? What separates a therapist from a coach? Besides just a doctoral degree and a license, like the ability to put your hands on someone, to manipulate, mobilize, whatever words you want to use. And we create a connection. We have a real true thing that happens on the pain experience. And yes, we need to move and exercise, but I think therapists forgot that skill. So it's one of those things. We know therapists, the most clinically effective therapists, do manual therapy and exercise. We know that. That's better than each by itself. But I get it. I try to empathize with the therapist who has seen a lot of patients and you're just tired and you have notes to do. I know a few therapists who spend their entire Saturday, Sunday doing notes from the week. And I'm like, what are you doing? But I get it. Like I've been there. It's exhausting. Yeah, and it feels like you can't break out of the cycle.
And there's still people doing that. I mean, I talk to people every day for Comprehend, and they're like, oh, I wait for my kids to go to bed, and I go back downstairs, and I do my notes, and I do it on the weekend when they're outside playing. I'm like, I've been there. That's why I built Comprehend. But, like, it drives me nuts that that's still a thing. And, like, you talked about it. You went to Arizona, and you were making 60,000. When was that?
2012, 2013.
So after COVID hit, I was done with travel PT. I came home to Buffalo. I looked around for jobs. The highest paying outpatient job I could find in end of 2020 was 62,000. So I don't know what it is. Well, probably it's not much higher.
Wow. Oh my gosh. How can you survive on that?
That's 20 to 25 patients a day too.
That sounds horrible. I'm sorry. Someone's listening to this right now who's actually doing that and they're like, oh, I hate my life. I can't believe these guys. Like, I'm sorry. That's not sustainable.
There is better out there. That's all I gotta say.
Dude, way better. Well, the funny thing is, like, too, I don't know, man. I think PT school also scares you. Like, if your notes aren't perfect, you're gonna get sued. And, like, by the way, unless you're treating Medicare, no one's reading your notes. Just gonna let you know. Do what you need to do ethically and legally, but no, don't like stress about your freaking notes. Just get them done.
And we run into that too. Like, people are like, "Oh, I need my note to look exactly how it used to." And I use Comprehend. I'm like, we have all the information. We listen to everything you said and put it into your note. It's all there. And we give you that score to tell you it's compliant. Like, you're good. And people are just so, like, ingrained in them. Like, I have to have a really good note. I'm like, nobody reads your notes. It's
no one.
If you get audited, maybe. But even then, they check for, like, 2 things. They don't even read
the Blue Cross. Yeah, it's like you already have your contracts. Some of your contracts are flat rate pay. No one's reading that note. Sorry. Like, the charges don't even matter either. Like, no one's reading that. That's what your so you do what's appropriate to the contract. I'm a moron. I did not know you guys had software that actually tells you if it's compliant or not. That's really cool.
Yeah, it gives them a letter grade in real time. So, like, it listens to your whole conversation. They walk out, you hit Comprehend. We write your whole note into your EMR, into all the sections, and then in real time we give you a score. And it prompts you, like, hey, per CMS guidelines, you didn't mention a functional outcome measure score. And in evals, that's what they look for. They probably did it. You just didn't say it out loud. You literally just hit record, say, scored a 28 on the dash, which that's a whole other thing, outcome score. But, like, that's what insurance wants. And we tell you, it's here, you're good. Like, it's...
Yeah, the outcome scores are funny. It's like, oh, your LEFS is a 60 out of 80. You can tie your shoes, you're discharged. And I'm like, the kid's 13 years old and can't play soccer.
Yeah.
No, he's good enough.
Trying to explain that to our dev team when they were asking, like, what are these scores? I'm like, well, usually we read it to them. And I'm like, I have my 80-year-old patient. I was like, if you were to run 1 mile, what would your pain be? Like, I haven't run a mile in 30 years. I'm like, I know, but I have to answer this score.
Gosh. Dude, the best thing we used to do, I've never used AI because I finished treating full time and moved into what I'm doing now before it came out. But we had, it was just a system that at least used to do some AI prompts, like, 7, 8 years ago. So the patient would fill out the intake form on an iPad and it would automate into the note, which was nice because we used to have to take it and then write it down again as you're taking it. Like, what a waste of time. They used to save me so much time. And then it would just have recommendations based on their age, gender, like photo score. This is mostly what we would expect them to be able to get to with this many visits and therapy. It just kind of made it easy. It was still generic, but yeah, good for you guys. That's really cool. I wish we had that back in the day.
It's come a long way. But there's a lot of people I talk to now that, like, own a clinic. They're like, if this was around when I was treating, I'd probably still be treating. Like, that was the worst part, was documenting.
Well, no. Now you can see 40 patients a day. That's what's going to happen.
We've run these those.
Yeah, these like the big corporate owned by a bank companies, like, that aren't mom and pop shops, be like, you know what? You're more efficient. Instead of 20, you're going to see 30 and then 45. And we're not going to pay you more. because inflation. And it's just, yeah, it's, I can understand both ends because I run a business. Like, I get it. It's, I don't have an answer for all these. It's like trying to fix healthcare in America. We all are like, it needs to be better. And I agree, but then it's like, how? How do we take this huge thing and like make it better? I don't know. Go to the gym. Gym makes everything better.
Be healthy.
Yeah, it's true.
But honestly, I appreciate you coming on. I know for any coaches, clinicians kind of looking to like build their own course or attend a course, like what advice do you have to like the newer clinicians and the new coaches coming up?
Let's talk about attending a course first. Number one, you cannot learn an in-person skill on a computer, period. I used to have students that would come in and they learned how to do cervical manips on a computer over on a freaking pillow. And so this is my personality, because I would make fun of them and be like, you're $250K in debt and no one even taught you to do cervical manip. You paid to do that on a computer. So get to a course, because you have an in-person job that you do. You need real-time coaching on what you're doing right now. The lowest level of knowledge is the online platforms that just let you check a box and get CEUs. Like, we don't need another freaking course on like the overhead throwing athlete. How many of those do we need? Like, I've taken all of them. It's kind of the same thing. They all need to do this and look at their T-spine and their hips and whatever. Like, you need to do stuff right now and get your hands on people. And then when you get your hands on more people, you realize everyone's different. So when I have a system and a thought process on how to work that, you only get that stuff in person. I think that would be step one. Also, if you're a clinician, like, don't be the TheraX guy who just keeps taking more TheraX. Like, you need to have it too. The manual therapy people always take more manual therapy. The exercise people always take more exercise. I'm biased towards exercise, but have a big toolbox. I've taken manual therapy courses. I took dry needling. Like, I did all this stuff because I think the more tools you have, really, the more people you can help. But I think the number one thing most therapists need is knowing how to coach, scale, and exercise. Like, it's sad because that's literally what we're supposed to be good at. And no offense, me included, like, we're just not good at it. That would be kind of step one. I even forgot what the other question was, but that's like the biggest thing I would look for. Oh, if you ever want to start your own course. So people ask me this a lot, and I just answer it honestly. You have to be an expert in what you do. So the people that teach courses have to have two things. You have to be an expert in what you do, whatever it is. You also have to be a really good speaker. You can't just do this and not know this, and you can't just know all the facts and be just super boring. Like, you have to be able to do two things. So it is extremely hard if you don't have a brand and a following. Don't just like be like, I'm going to start a course and people are going to buy it. If I build it, they will come. No, they won't, because there are a lot. Like, how many courses are there now? There's all this online stuff. There's actually not that many in person because they're expensive. People don't want to pay to come to stuff in person now because, like, the stuff that you and I used to do, I'd give up weekends to go take a 16-hour course. It's just part of what you did. And now, like, the mindset shifted. I could just do it on an app. Yeah, but look at the outcomes of the app. It's just not good. So you need to get really good at what you do. You do need to build a brand. There are lots of ways to do that. I'm on social media. It's like, that's what we do. And you need to speak to the person you want to teach every single day, 2 to 3 times a day on social media. Don't worry about, if you're an orthopedic person and you want to do a course on exercise, don't talk to women's health people. Don't talk to fall risk people. Talk to the exact person that you want to, like, take your thing. And then you just sit down, put it together. But if you ever want to do a course in person and teach it, you need to get really good at public speaking, period. Like, that is really goal number one. So one of the biggest things I'll tell people too is, like, go take a public speaking course. Like, go pay someone to tell you how bad you are at public speaking. Don't go ask your friends because they're going to be nice to you and be like, no, Chris, you'll get better. Like, pay someone to make you better. Kind of like a mentorship in PT. You're not there to be told how good you are. You're there to be told, here's how you're going to improve and how you're going to do it. That's what I was saying. It's hard. Like, courses are hard, man. Like, I built a couple of them, and it's not like I was just good at it. My first public speaking gig was in New York City at an overhead throwing baseball seminar at NYU, and I was horrible. I was so bad. I said more than I said, like, regular words. And then, like, you do the thing for a while, you get in front of people, it's comfortable, you start understanding how to organize content. I mean, it's taken me a decade. It did just happen like 2 years ago. So I know that sounds like a big hill to climb. I think it can be done. And the last thing I'll say, so this is just, I know I'm like winging it a little bit now.
That's all right.
If you're gonna do courses, like don't be that person that has 500 online courses that are all like kind of useless. Like more is not better. Like if you really want to be known for something, you have to be known for something, one thing. Like be really, really good at this versus like the more I sell, the more I have options, the more people just pay me money. It does not work that way. You have to, like, you guys are really good at one thing, right? Comprehend Health does one thing. So when you can dive down to doing one thing, you can now perfect that and you can build a brand around that. And then once you perfect that and you're perfect, now maybe you do another thing. It's like opening up another physical therapy location. The first one does really well, and you're like, I want to open up a second one. The second one always does worse. And then it takes away from the first one. Like it's very hard to do a lot of stuff really well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see kind of what your course turns into. Like I said, my wife is definitely interested in taking one. So tell us where they're headed next.
So so I have 2 courses that I run. I tell everyone I do not have a staff. I think staff waters down content. The course is my brain, so I'm going to go teach it. So we are very fortunate. I'm booked through May of 2027 right now. And that's I have a kind of private facing rehab course. So we partner with bigger physical therapy companies. I come in, I teach my rehab rebuild course. It's 2 days, 16 hours. We do plyos, we do kettlebell work, we teach people how to coach, and we all do it in a way that you can do it with 20 patients a day because it's what I used to do. So it's not like I need a CrossFit gym. If you've got a basic outpatient physical therapy office under the constraints of I work in New York, Western New York, which means no techs, no PTAs, like I used to do the laundry myself. Like I know how to operate at a pretty high level with making things systematic on exercise for patients. We bring that to the table because a lot of courses, they'll teach you a lot of cool stuff. It's just not practical when you're seeing 50, 20 patients a day. So between that course and Programming Around Pain, we're fortunate. We have partnerships, Good Life, biggest gym chain in Canada, partnerships with Lifetime, one of the biggest gym chains in the United States. I go and I teach that course for them. We're booked out through 2027. So I'm going to live in California for 5 weeks this year because I have courses every weekend around California. So we are all over the place. I'll tell people my website, drjustinfarnsworth.com. So my first name and my last name.com, and you'll see the whole layout. So I'm going to drive to Long Island for a 1-day course next week, New Hampshire after that. Then I get like 2 weeks off, and then literally September through December, I have Thanksgiving weekend off and Christmas. And then second week of January, we're back at it. We're hoping to get to the UK, Qatar, Hong Kong. We have a few international options we're trying to also grade. It's funny you asked me that because I'll even have like my wife be like, what do you got next week? And I'm like, I don't know. I have it written down in a calendar somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Buffalo, we're trying. We have a potential option in April. They just haven't really done a great job at following through to lock it in. So as of right now, it's a not coming to Buffalo.
I know the course is well worth it, so I will be a testimonial for you. Like everybody should go take it. But honestly, this is great. I appreciate you coming on. Everything you built for the course seems like it's awesome. And that's it for this episode of Rehab on the Mic. We'll catch everybody next time. And Dr. Farnsworth, thanks for coming, dude.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, dude. Appreciate it.